I recently finished Legend of Exorcism Volume 5. I read volumes 1 and 2 last year and volumes 3 and 4 last month before Dinkai Fushan Records. I'm not sure which series I like better, but both are really good. I really like this volume. Chu Youngsu gets more focused in this volume, which I really liked. He's one of the members in the Department of Exorcism that you know the least about. Kang Hanjun and Lee Jinlong obviously get the most focus as the main character and male lead, but Mugen and Lushu also get a lot of focus when Lushu is introduced in Volume 2. This volume picks up at the end of Volume 4 where Mugen goes undercover and is corrupted by resentment, which is a part of the plan, and Lushu is tasked with being the one to wake him up, and also monitoring Mugen so that they know what An Lushan is planning. Lushu is worried about Morgan during this, and there is definitely tension between them. Lushu couldn't help himself but to kiss Morgan at one point. Morgan, who is undercover and corrupted by the resentment, also had his memories altered by Lushu, so he wouldn't know that him being under on Lushan's control was planned and tip him off. Figures out that Lushu did something to him and shows up at the Department of Exorcism to confront him. But he doesn't tell An Lushan this, which leads everyone to congratulating Lushu because, as it turns out, Morgan does have feelings for him. But Lushu looks at them confused, and Hanjun, who is normally confused when things are happening and has to be filled in, is the one to explain things to Lushu. They go about their plan to stop on Lushan, and Lushu has to go wake Morgan up, which he does. But I guess the tension was too much for Morgan because he decides he needs to have Lushu right then and there. Lushu does try and push him off because technically they are still on the clock. They have not stopped on Lushan yet. But Morgan says that he'll be quick, but then changes his mind when Lucius starts crying out and asks him to cry harder. But even after this, they are not officially a couple because Morgan is upset with Luciu and Luciu is being stubborn. But they will eventually get there. Going back to their current mission, they end up chasing on Lucian to a palace where they are able to remove the demon seed from him. Then Shan Yuka shows up to try and reclaim the demon seed that he had given on Lucian to begin with. We also find out during this that Zhao Jinlong, the fish Yao that has been with Hanjun since the very beginning of the story, is actually a spy that has been sent by Xian Yu to watch over Hanjun and the Department of Exorcism. However, everyone in the Department of Exorcism, with the exception of Hanjun, already figured this out and were ready for this. Even when Xian Yu pulled out an hourglass to reverse and stop time, Xian Yu really underestimated them at this point, but what he really underestimated was just how much Li Jianlong loves Hanjun. Xian Yu had injured Hanjun pretty badly, and Li Jianlong lost his ever-loving mind, and Xian Yu barely escaped with his life. Lee Jinlun loves Hanjun so much that he does not want Hanjun to become the reincarnation of Mara. So during this conflict, he is also using his essence to power the heart lamp, which means he's basically sacrificing himself for Hanjun. Hanjun is pissed at Li Jinlong about this. He confronts Li Jinlong about this, and Li Jinlong tells Hanjun that he wants Hanjun to live. Hanjun basically just like, it's okay if I become the reincarnation of Mara because I trust you guys to stop me. And Li Jinlong does not want that. He does not want to live without Hanjun. He tells Hanjun that he would rather Hanjun kill him and then go about destroying the world than to live without Hanjun, which upsets Hanjun even more because how is Li Jinlong gonna say all this but expect Hanjun to live without him? And Li Jinlong tells him that he would be okay, that he has their friends at the Department of Exorcism, and in time he would have moved on, which really pisses Hyunjin off. He tells Lee Jinlong that they're over and he wants a divorce. but Lee Jinlong just says that you love me, so you'll forgive me, that he'll get the best tasting food for Hyunjin, and that they will go traveling together and they'll be together for a long, long time. And then asks Hyunjin if he can sleep in the room with him because he's tired. Hyunjin tells him no, but he just ignores him, takes Hyunjin in his arms, and then goes to sleep. And that's basically where Arc 3 or Book 3 ends, because the series is separated into, I believe, 5 books slash arcs. Arc 4 starts with them planning out their next steps, and this is the arc where we learn more about Chu Youngsu. The hourglass that they broke and got the sand back from are actually ashes of a dragon from this tower that Xian Yu broke out from before the events of the story. Chao Youngsu needs to go back home and fix this tower, because if he doesn't, then tens of thousands of Zhao that are imprisoned inside of the tower will break out and destroy everything. They are also trying to find these remaining artifacts that, when combined with the Sword of Wisdom, which Li Jinlong has, create a divine weapon, which is actually the Akala blade that Shang Shu from Dinkai Fushan Records has. So they go on their way to Chao Youngsu's home and meet his grandfather. They all go to relax, but Li Jinlong goes to talk to Chao Youngsu's grandfather, and Hyunjin sees Chao Youngsu working on something and goes to help him. And while it's switching between Li Jinlong and Hyunjin's point of view, we learn more about Cho Youngsu, like how he is actually 135 years old. His mother is the human reincarnation of a goddess, and that Hongjun's mother is a different human reincarnation of the exact same goddess. We also learn that Cheon Youngsoo is also a prince because he is the son of the emperor, or I think crown prince from a previous dynasty. And he was also born and spent most of his childhood raised inside of this tower where time works differently. Cho Yongshu is about to enter this tower to repair it after it was damaged, and it's going to take a little over 200 days inside of the tower, a little over 200 years for Hyunjin and everyone else. And he is saying his goodbye to Hyunjin, and Hyunjin is trying to convince him not to go, and that maybe there's another way that they can go about fixing the tower. And when this is happening, they get attacked by Xian Yu, and they both end up going inside of the tower. Li Jinlong and another member of the Department of Exorcism go in the tower after them, but not before Li Jinlong puts Mergen in charge, and they agree to meet up in 1 year because they don't know how many days they are going to be inside of the tower. Time in the tower is currently working slower at the moment, but it is still faster than time on the outside of the tower. They end up being in the tower after finding Hyunjin and Cho Youngshu and fixing tower for what is about a week for them, but is 17 months outside of the tower. When they come out of the tower, they find that On Lucion has an army of human and Yao and has started a rebellion. They also found another one of the artifacts that they were looking for. But the bad news is, just like the Sword of Wisdom, the Yao binding cord won't recognize Li Jinlong as its master. That's basically where Volume 5 ends, and sadly, Volume 6 won't be out until August.